So today we're gonna free ourselves up to take a recipe and make it our own. I'm gonna show you how to do this with a grain bowl because it's a great example of something that has multiple types of components that can be switched up. First on the ingredient list is carrots. So I know that carrots are a root vegetable, which means they're in the same category of vegetables that take a little bit longer to cook. In this case, carrots specifically are lending a sweetness to our grain bowl. So I think I'll go with parsnips, which are also a little bit more unexpected. But let's say you had a sweet potato on hand, that would be great too. And make sure to cut them to roughly the same size as our carrots. That way we know we can keep the cooking time the same. The next ingredient is broccolini. Broccolini, since it's more slender than traditional broccoli, cooks up really nice and crisp in a hot oven. Broccolini in this recipe is actually lending a lot of crispiness. So in this case, I think I'll swap it for some kale, which if you've ever made kale chips, you know that that can get nice and crunchy in the oven as well. Now I do know that kale takes a little less time to cook than broccolini, so I might throw that on my sheet tray a little bit later. Our spices here are cumin and coriander, which are lending earthy, almost lemony notes to our grain bowl. So instead of using cumin and coriander, I could use garam masala, which is a spice blend that contains both of those spices. So I know it'll be a similar flavor profile. The grain we're using here is farro, which is adding a heartiness to our dish, and it's gonna keep us full. So I definitely wanna use another whole grain here, or quinoa, which is actually a seed, but it's gonna also be really satiating and it cooks pretty quickly. To top our grain bowls, this original recipe calls for a really great and creamy yogurt sauce. We could just keep the yogurt the same and switch up the herbs or the citrus, but if you want to, you could try tahini, which is another popular option for grain bowls and is also adding creaminess and fat just like the yogurt does. If I swap for tahini, I'm still gonna loosen it up with olive oil, my lemon zest and juice, although of course I could choose a different citrus, but I can switch up the herbs. So the way that I like to think about it is you have your tender herbs and your woody herbs. So your tender herbs are your more delicate herbs, and your woodier herbs are ones with the thicker stems, so rosemary or thyme. When you take a look at a recipe, just think about what category your herb falls in, and then you'll know how to swap it. In this case, I'm gonna try parsley and chives. Lastly, our grain bowl is topped with pumpkin seeds and soft-boiled eggs. So I just wanna think about what their purpose is for this grain bowl. The pumpkin seeds are definitely adding a nice, nutty, toasty crunch. That's the most important thing. So I can kind of substitute it for any other seed. Sunflower seed is great here. Our soft-boiled eggs are lending protein to this vegetarian dish. So I could switch it up and cook my egg a different way. I could fry an egg and put it on top, but if I wanted to keep this kind of meal prep friendly, roasting our chickpeas along with our vegetable is a great way to work in vegetarian protein. So here we have these two grain bowls serving a similar purpose. They're vegetarian, they're gonna fill us up. We have protein, we have a hearty base, we have vegetables, but we were able to mix and match depending on what we wanted today. Taking a recipe and being able to make it your own is one of the best things you can do in the kitchen because it gives you so much freedom. Instead of viewing a recipe as a hard and fast rule, think of it more like a guideline. So hopefully now you have the confidence to make a recipe your own. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.